now I'm actually going to take you through a couple of case studies. So let's clear everything off here, and we will start. Let's start with a case study that weaves a whole bunch of these data sets together. So say that I'm a renewable energy developer or a local government or a community group looking to develop a new generation project to deliver jobs and investment to a particular local area. So let's start with our generation connection capacity. So we'll go here, we'll turn on, there's no data at the moment in the power lines, in the transmission power lines, but we'll turn on transmission substations, distribution power lines, distribution substations. And we'll flick that over here to our aerial. So this is the map that we saw on the slide earlier that's got all of our transmission and distribution connection capacity information. And say I am a community group or a local government that's particularly interested in Proserpine in Queensland. So I can type in my area, Proserpine, click that, and that will zoom in here. It's actually quite small because it adjusts, but this is the Proserpine area, and you can actually see here that there's a transmission connection point just outside of town. And when you click on that, you get a whole bunch of information from PowerLink, but crucially, we can see that the new generation indicative capacity is around 75 megawatts, which allows for a pretty reasonable scale of generator, be it a solar farm or a bioenergy facility. And if I need to know more, I can just go down and click on PowerLink's more information, and I get their generation capacity guide where there's a greater level of detail. And I'll close that down. And what if I actually want to know a bit about the local solar resource? This is where the other capabilities of ARENI actually come into their own. So we want to click on renewable energy data, look at solar. There's a whole bunch of different data sets. Global horizontal exposure is one that will show you the quality of the solar resource in a particular location. So we can click on that and see that not amazing, but a pretty decent solar resource in that case, and you could factor that into your resource assessment from a project development perspective. And then let's also have a look if there are any other investments happening in the area. So I'll shrink some of these down. I'll toggle off our solar resource for the time being. And we'll turn on our proposed investments back in the network opportunity map and see if there's anything happening in this particular region. So this map's a little bit busy, so let's go to a plainer one, and you can actually see that, yes, there's actually a couple of investments in this particular location. So right at that connection point, we have one nominated from PowerLink here. Oops, that's here, this proposed investment at Proserpine. So you can see that there is a $10 million replacement investment that's happening in 2019. And from the comments that are here, you can see that there are some voltage regulation issues going on upstream. So for a solar farm, that could signal a potential role for voltage regulation services using appropriately specified inverter controls. So let's turn that one off for the minute, or it might actually mean that some form of more dispatchable generation might be of interest, like bioenergy as well. So I'll close that one down, and then we'll see, well, what does that actually translate to in dollars per kVA per year? How promising an opportunity is it? So let's have a look, and we know that it's happening in 2019. So we'll turn on the annual deferral layer. We'll click on 2019. Here's our region, our zone substation region that's connected to. And you can see that $10 million deferrable investment. And here's the table and graph of the deferral value. So it's about $80 per kVA per year, and requires about 11 MVA of support. So it needs to be a project of relatively substantial scale to achieve a deferral, and of moderate value. So it's not going to get a project across the line by itself, but could be an interesting additional value stream. And let's dig a little deeper to see, well, what is actually the peak circumstance that is driving this particular constraint? So let's toggle that off. Well, add another data set of our peak day available capacity. So we'll turn that one on. Your computer might start to struggle with 10 different data sets of these volumes loaded at any one time. But if you could actually click on this region, you can see the load curve that's associated with that particular constraint. And so you can actually see that it's a really long constraint. It's actually quite a broad peak, which is indicative of a transmission network issue rather than a peakier distribution network issue. And so that extends into the evening, which might mean there might be a role for battery storage, or there might be or it might actually be something that's potentially more suitable to a bioenergy dispatchable generation case. So if you were actually wanting to say, well, let's go a little bit deeper and I want to look at a particular site, you could go and have a look at your aerial, go down to the particular connection point and say, well, where's actually a parcel of land that might be of relevance here? And there's a little measurement tool. You can say, well, between these roads, looks like it's a non-agriculturally used area. That's a couple of kilometres in that direction. And sort of 500 metres or so in that might be in the order of 65 hectares, about a 65 megawatt installation in that particular location, very close to this connection point. So, which we know might accommodate something in the order of 75 megawatts. So if I'm, or even if I'm a local government that owns a bit of land, I can drag and drop my own land parcel information into the browser and see how well that aligns with the connection point. Or if you really want to chase the deferral value opportunity, you can zoom out and you can see it's quite a heavy agricultural area. So if you were to, you could actually remove all of this to declutter it a little. But you could go and have a look at the bioenergy resources that are available here on the platform. You can click, have a look at where the waste management facilities are, for example. This map's a bit busy again. Let's make it a bit simpler. You can see that there's 7 or 8 different waste management facilities in the area, or look at Queensland-based data sets around forestry or livestock, for example. So that starts to give you a bit of a flavour for the kinds of things that you can do on the generation side with these new maps using a whole range of different data sets.